Okay. Earlier, I had been talking about the Meinongian distinction between Wahrheit und Evidenz. That's truth and evidence. And I would recommend that presentation. And I discussed Jennifer Welch, our contemporary leading Meinongian philosopher. So now, I could just leave this with a koan. Probably I will, because everybody loves shorts now. So I can do shorts. There's a parallelism. Take the notion of Wahrheit und Evidenz. Flip it, because I take personally my own view on the matter, and as is Meinong's, is that evidence is prior to judgments of truth value. I make a judgment about this object is a gin gimlet. It has a truth value, true or false. This is the evidence about which we make judgments. It's very straightforward. And, these things they're very commonsensical, but philosophy moves in mysterious ways. There is a parallelism between, on the one hand, Wahrheit und Evidenz, and on the other hand, legitimacy and authority. There is a great controversy about authority, whether or not it's named as such. It is afoot and amidst. We can see it. Americans are allergic to authority. Hey, don't compromise my own individual liberty, pal. That's very American. Authority is a massive philosophical problem. It's one of my great interests. And you can find problems of authority manifested by, in other words, symptomatic of philosophers, because philosophers are authority figures. Americans are right to be allergic to authority figures. Maybe even authority, but I'm biased in this department. I'm biased for various reasons that I've discussed in 700 videos or whatever. Who comes to mind in the discourse about the philosophy of authority. Marcuse comes to mind. Herbert Marcuse. No, it's Herbert. Marcuse and Kierkegaard wrote a book called Without Authority, which I've probably given in show and tell here. If I have it sitting here, it's a sort of talisman of mine, along with, hey, the lilies of the field toil not, and yet the good Lord without authority. Lilies of the field, I think there was in Angelus Silesius. Very well-known mystic, Angelus Silesius. Are the lilies of the field legitimate? That's a rhetorical question. Nobody's going to question the legitimacy of flowers. Are flowers authoritative? So, my theory today, it's just kind of been what I'm mulling over. But, not just today. Of course, I've been engaging in contemplation and meditation and study and inquiry about the subject of authority for most of my life. So, yeah, it's just today that I'm framing it in terms of a dichotomy between legitimacy and authority, but it took a few decades to get to that point. The lilies of the field require no authority. They do not need to be authoritative. They don't need to follow orders. And yet, total, absolute legitimacy. But by contrast, in our human world, our human social world, we find pretenders to authority everywhere. No legitimacy. So, that's my short. It's the parallelism. Wahrheit und Evidenz is parallel to, but flip them, because Wahrheit is truth and Evidenz is evidence. So make it. See, Meinong's book the title of it is Truth and Evidence, I think. Wahrheit und Evidenz. I'll put, evidence first. So, on the one side you have truth and evidence. The other way around. Evidence comes first. Then truth, but truth value. Whatever the judgment, whatever the logic gives us, you have to make your judgment. You have to judge wisely. You have to know things. You have to know things, and you have to be willing to discuss them with people and check your notes. And, the process of calibrating knowledge gets you to some approximation of of a adequatio between subjectivity and objectivity. So, evidence, Evidence and truth on the one hand, legitimacy and authority. These are parallel. So, to conclude, now this is the vulgar, right? The vulgar characterization, but it's okay. It sounds good to me. The vulgar characterization is roughly legitimacy, good. Authority, bad. Or say authority is pleonastic. Pleonastic. Pleonastic is extra. It's redundant. It's not needed. This is what, in other words, this beard, if it's extra, Occam will cut it off. Authority is pleonastic. Where there's legitimacy, who needs authority? You have to know what legitimacy is. Read Plato. Read Plato and try to not get too freaked out by the racism and the colonialism.